Welcome, readers. Today on Bookchat, we'll be discussing the next book in our fantasy series, Possession, written by J.R. Ward. Stay tuned. Hey guys, I'm so excited to share today's sponsor because you know I love a good mystery title. We even feature one right here on the podcast every single month. So I'm always on the hunt for the next read we can feature on the podcast. So when I had this opportunity to check out this website, I knew it was an absolute great find, and I also knew that I had to share it with you. Today's episode is sponsored by I Found This Great Book. It's a directory of Black mystery authors featuring over 580 titles. If you're a fan of audiobooks like me, browse the 175 books in the directory that are available in audio format. Browse by author, style of mystery, including hard-boiled, cozy, supernatural, and more, or even browse like in a bookstore and scroll through the books until you see cover art that jumps out at you. Visit the special link especially for Shelf Addiction listeners by visiting ifoundthisgreatbook.com/Shelf Addiction. Support Shelf Addiction by supporting our sponsor, so head on over to ifoundthisgreatbook.com/Shelf Addiction and peruse the directory of Black mystery authors. The link is also in the show notes. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Participate in this book discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official or joining us over on the Book Clubs app. Talk about the series with us as well as other bookish topics. I hope to hear your thoughts on this book discussion. You can always find us on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. That would really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing so. The uncut video version of this podcast is available right now on Patreon. Join us there where we get even more candid with podcast after shows and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come on over to Patreon and sign up. You can also show your support by utilizing our sponsor offers. Go to shelfaddiction.com/support and see all of the current promotional offers. Before we get started, I have to issue a spoiler warning. This is a book discussion, so nothing is off limits. You've been warned. Welcome back to another fantasy series read-along discussion. Today we are talking about the fifth book in the Fallen Angel series, Possession. Joining me is my fantasy series read-along co-host, Casey from Heart Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited for today's book because let me tell you, I was getting like all the feelings while I was reading this book. I'm like, oh my God. Ah! I was shocked and disgusted and puzzled and mad.
Yes. Oh my God. I have so many feels.
Oh my gosh. Well, before we dig into the stats and stuff, I do have a nice little beverage with me today. So I am prepared. I have a limoncello and vodka. It's very good. On ice, it's 50-50 mix. It's very good.
Sounds delicious. I just have some water.
Oh, well, I do have water to balance it, so I won't be like drunk off my ass. I do have water.
I have nothing but water.
Oh, no. Well, this actually technically was left over from last night. And this wine, it's like a wine tumbler. For those that can't see, it's like an insulated wine tumbler. And I started drinking this last night, fell asleep, woke up this morning, and the ice is still in there. It's still the same. I'm like, oh my gosh. And, I've been up for hours and hours and hours. And I'm like, oh, this thing is good. So now I'm just
That's really good. Yeah.
Pick up where I left off.
Why not?
It's
delicious.
Absolutely. All right. You ready to dive into the brass tacks of it? All right.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. So we are talking about Possession. It was published October 1st, 2013 by Penguin Random House. And the audiobook was published by Penguin Audio. The audiobook is narrated by Eric G. Dove. And the unabridged audio runtime is 14 hours and 1 minute. And the mass market paperback is 514 pages. No,
Damn.
544 pages. Can I read?
Damn.
Right. Let me not short it, 40 pages or 30 pages. Right. It's a long one. All these books are long. All of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're giant bricks. You could hit somebody with it. I want to hit Jim with it.
Bam, 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 right on the head. He needs
right
it.
Right on the head. He needs it.
All right, Casey, hit us up with the synopsis. Yeah.
When Kate Douglas resolves to get over her broken heart and lose her inhibitions, she's unprepared for two sensual men who cross her path. Torn between them, she doesn't know who to choose or what kind of dire consequences could follow. Jim Heron, fallen angel and reluctant savior, is ahead in the war, but he puts everything at risk when he seeks to make a deal with the devil, literally. As yet another soul is unwittingly caught in the battle between him and the demon Davina, his fixation on the innocent trapped in hell threatens to sidetrack him from his sacred duty. Can good still prevail if true love makes the savior weak? And will a woman's future be the key or the curse for all of humanity? Only time and hearts will tell.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so
first of all, this book should not be titled Possession. It should be titled Jim's fucking stupid, or Jim lost his goddamn mind, or Jim has no brain cells left. I don't know. You pick one of those.
Yeah, any of those work. Any of them, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So. I don't even know why it's called Possession when you get down to it. I don't know.
Because GB wanted to possess what his brother had.
GB was GB. Okay. Yes, that makes sense. He did want what his brother had. All the time, apparently. He just can't stop. Well, his brother also wanted what he had for a moment, just for payback purposes.
Mm-hmm. Also, it just occurred to me, it could be Davina and all of her possessions.
Oh, yes.
She doesn't want to give stuff up, and how she's very OCD and has to have everything in her exact order. And, that could be a play on words too.
Yes, absolutely. And let me tell you, before we even dive into it, I started a Evernote thing for this because at first I'm like, it took me like a little bit to grasp everyone's situation. So I'm like, let me just make a few notes on each character, which turned into me also bullet pointing some things I wanted to make sure I talked about.
Okay, good.
Just because there was so much going on in this book, which is a good thing. I thought it was nice. I think it was well put together. I don't think it was too many things going on. And I also, because, each of these stories, there's a couple, right? So that's like the underlying theme of these books. But what I loved about it is that it wasn't an obvious couple, not at first.
That was really fun.
Yeah. I'm like, look at her dating two guys at once. You go, girl. You do it. It did annoy me a little bit that Kate was like feeling a little guilty about it. I'm like, why? You just met these dudes. You don't owe them nothing. You don't owe them anything. Why you feel bad about it? Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, I kind of have 2 first dates with 2 men this week. Yeah, no, I was reading this book going, ew, I hope they're not brothers. I hope I'm not getting jacked in this book.
Just ask both of them. Well, I was going to say ask their last name, but that doesn't mean anything today.
That doesn't mean anything, no.
No.
Anyway, let's get back into the fiction, and I'll tell you about my romance in the after show.
All right.
Special listeners who,
all right, let's
subscribe to Patreon and all that jazz.
Come on over so y'all can hear the juicy stuff.
It's not that juicy.
Lord.
But anyway.
Yeah, so Kate has two guys she's hanging out with. GB. First off, let me just say GB is like this up and coming local artist guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
people like his music. He has this little fangirl club.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he's not like famous. Like he's not
Not
like that.
yet.
Right.
He's
And he
city famous, not nationally famous.
local, yeah, local guy famous.
Yeah.
And I instantly, because of that status, if I were Kate, he would have
Mm-hmm.
been scratched off the list immediately.
Oh, yeah, me too. There was just something weird about him. And at the very beginning, I wondered if he was a vampire and she was like going to fully cross over the vampires from the Black Dagger Brotherhood in The Fallen Angel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was thinking about being immortal. He was staying up until like 5 a.m. and sleeping with blackout curtains. And I was like, are we really doing the vampires now? Like, is this what's happening here? No, he was
not quite.
But
yeah,
I questioned that for half a minute. I'm like, what are you doing, J.R. Ward? What are you doing?
You know, it was like she did have like a lot of BDB vibes going on throughout this
John
book.
Matthew made an appearance.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I had to go like, wait a second, who is he? Because I was like, I remember him, but it's been over 10 years since I've read those books. I had to go back and look up his book. I'm like, all right, eventually I'll get back and reread it. But
which on a side note, I just don't get his pairing, but whatever. We'll let it go for now. We'll pick you back around at a later date if we ever talk about it.
I honestly don't remember her at all. I just know what Duke was saying and that she was a good boss. And I was like, okay, sure. I remember nothing about John Matthews' book. So, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll believe you.
All right. Well, he has a hard ass, what do they call each other? Not spouse, but mate or whatever.
Something like that.
But yeah, so at first I would have X'd out GB just because of his status in the town or the city. But Duke, on the other hand, that stuff is attractive. Like, you know what? Let's say it's been a while, you know, you're kind of out of the loop with the sex game. And then somebody like this approaches you talking all the shit, like, can he deliver? Talking the mess. I'm like, he being a little aggressive, but not like disgustingly so, just enough where you're like,
He definitely says, this is available, but the ball's in your court. You get to decide. I will be here at my job. You come to me if you want me. Yes. And I'll give you what you want. But you
he's like, I'll give you what you want, but you got to come get it. Like, damn, okay. I'd be like, GB, who? Who?
I'm not meeting any man for lunch. Hell no.
Right. It was kind of cool just to have her go back and forth for a while. Although when we got to the end of it, I kind of felt it was obvious Duke was the choice. Because
I mean, the more she slept with him, the more obvious it became. And when she was around GB, I don't know, he just gave off like weird vibes. I don't know if it was just I didn't like him or if we're supposed to get those weird vibes because like he's supposed to be nice, but also like just no.
Yeah.
That type of man for a reason. And now he's a serial killer. So there's a very good reason. But like, I don't know. There was never a choice in my mind. Like, she was never an option. And I feel like she just stuck around with him out of guilt almost.
Yeah, like she never really had a chance to have like a real honest to God date with him. Like something was always happening. You know what I mean? She never got that real time for him to even like wiggle himself in the middle. Not really.
No.
So it was like a fake out, like triangle. Like it wasn't really a triangle, but which is fine with me. I think triangles are overrated. So
yeah. I mean, she should have told him about Duke earlier, but I understand why she didn't. And then, you know, everything went to hell.
So. Honestly, I'm with her on the timing. I mean, we can be sleeping together, but unless we say, like when Duke physically said, okay, look, I can try to do this, but it's just gonna have to be us,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, that's when. That's when.
I mean, I would have told GB like the very first time they went on that lunch date, just be like, you know what? I'm not feeling it. I met somebody else. Like, no more dates. Just maybe not even at the lunch date. Just call him on the phone after you fucked Duke on the floor in that room.
Same.
And like, just the next day, you know what, GP, let's not meet for lunch. Let's not do this.
Okay, look, I'm gonna tell y'all a little story, and I'm gonna tell you why I still agree with Kate's method. Because when I was younger, a lot younger, let me just say that this was not yesterday, it was a while ago. I dated several people at once, and it was the best fucking time ever. I had a date who liked to do this kind of stuff. I had a guy who liked to do that kind of stuff. And so I had all kinds of dates all the time. And so I wasn't sleeping with all of them. Don't get it twisted. But if I was going to sleep with one, I have no desire to stop my other dates, because guess what? It's just sex. We're not together. We're not together. So as long as we all agree that we're not exclusive, I do what I want. I do what I want. And no one has to know about it until the point where you decide, like, okay, let's do this. Let's just see each other. Then go cut the other people off. Cut the people off.
Yeah.
But you could date many people without sleeping with many people.
Yes.
Davina probably wouldn't agree, but...
Well, I don't think Davina would want to date anybody. I think she just wants to fuck everybody.
Right.
That's the difference for her. There is no dating. There's just fucking.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm cool with that because it was so casual with GB. It was like, it was really nothing. It was like, well, he seemed okay. He's kind of cute. He fine, but it was really nothing. So I think her not, and I don't even think she did it on purpose. She just didn't tell him. She just didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I can't hate on Kate for that.
I'm not hating on her. It was just my choice.
Yeah.
It was too creepy. Would not have wanted that to go on any further than it did.
She gave him a lot of chances. Like I said, they never had an official date. Like, him being the celebrity, local celebrity, would have been strike one. Strike two was when she went to that show and the receptionist or secretary or whatever was acting nuts. I'm like, okay, look, strike two. And I'm like, okay, I get almost attacked trying to see your ass. Okay, look, strike three. We're done. This was not meant to be, okay? It was not meant to be.
No, not at all.
Yeah. That's all it would have took. I mean, I wouldn't have even had to have slept with Duke at that point because it was just too much. But
yeah, I mean, that's totally fair because who wants to deal with that shit?
Right.
All of it, any of it.
Drama. Too much.
Way too much.
So, okay. So we got those two people going on.
In the background.
And then the other story going on at the same time. And that's also another thing that I also kind of enjoyed with this book was the soul wasn't obvious at first either. And things always, you should never, ever just take things that the angels tell you at face value, especially when, like Adrian, dude, Colin told him, he asked for some help. And Colin said, well, I can't get you all the way there, but this name. And he takes it upon himself to assume that's the soul. He didn't listen, really.
Nope. They all fucked up on the soul. All of them. Jim and Adrian. And they should have realized, because this is the 5th book now, that the angels will never tell you exactly who it is. They will give you the runaround.
Yes.
And they'll be like, oh, look over in this direction. It's somebody in this group of 100 people.
Right.
Like it's.
I mean, he got him literally 1 degree of separation. Like he literally got him right there. He just needed to be not so daft. Like,
that was more than what Jim was fucking doing.
Oh my God, Jim. And we knew this would happen. We said it last time. We said if Sissy gets out, Jim's going to
lose his mind.
Yeah, he's going to lose it. And what happened in this book, they lost the round. The good side lost the round, and they deserved to lose the round because they were off their game completely.
They weren't even in the freaking game.
Nope. They had no contact with the correct soul. No. Neither of them.
Well, okay. Sissy saw him at once at her funeral, and she's like, hey, he has a halo just like you. And Jim's like, what the fuck do you mean, halo? And I'm like, come on. She's on your team now. Listen to her. No.
But see, that also didn't make sense to me. So, okay, let me just say why it didn't make sense. So apparently Sissy has the ability to see halos on people, and she's the only one. Jim can't. Neither can Adrian. They don't see him. Maybe these halos are, you'd think it would indicate someone good, but not necessarily, because at that point in time, he had already killed someone. He had already murdered someone, multiple people, come to find out. Although he hadn't killed Kate at that point, he had already murdered somebody. So how does he have a halo?
So I think my theory is that he's like Jim, because Jim has the halo too. And Jim's not entirely a good person. Like, he's killed a lot of people. He's kind of bad. He's the savior because he could go either way. And I think that was kind of the point, is that I think Sissy has Nigel's powers to see all of the marked souls in the game. I think when Nigel killed himself, his powers went to Sissy instead of Jim. So Jim's not going to be the one holding up heaven. It's going to be Sissy.
Okay, well,
those powers.
Well, if that's the case, she was seeing halos before Nigel offed himself. So maybe there was, because she said that before. She pointed out Jim's halo before. So
she cuddled with God at one point. Maybe God was like, here, let me give you the sight.
Yeah.
Give it after being in hell. I don't know.
Which ultimately says, like, if, their version of God is all knowing, then they knew Jim would make the trade. They knew Sissy would get out. So here's the ability. Like the long game. I know this is going to happen.
I mean, Dog has been sleeping at the foot of Jim's bed for how many books now?
Right. That is interesting. And I don't hate that idea. I kind of like it. But if they only have one more book to figure out, they only have one more round. And if they can't, if that is her ability, they need to sort that out really quickly, because he brushed her off when she was talking about
he's a fucking idiot right now. He has 0 brain cells. Like, I just want you to wrap my hand around his head or his neck and just shake him.
Like, all they can think about, aside from him trying to help. Okay, so in the beginning, when Sissy was brought back, she's not alive. She is dead. She is like them. She can appear to people or not. And she was trying to sort out what she is. She was confused. How long have I been gone? It felt like centuries, what's happening? And then, like, as she's sorting it out, I was kind of annoyed by her, but it wasn't really her fault. It wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
And I was also annoyed by Jim a little bit because I'm like, just fucking tell her. Why are you treating her like a child? Sit her ass down, just fucking tell her, and then you can move on. But he was bullshitting around. And Adrian called him out, like, you're tra-la-la for 24 hours, 2 days. You're wasting time. Like,
you're not playing the game.
No.
Come on, let's do something.
Right.
And he's like, just give me another day. I just need another day. And I'm like, I was with Adrian. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You might as well just throw the round out with the bathwater. Like, here you go. Just take it. Just take this one because I'm not doing anything.
I gave you one flag. Here, take the next flag. Like,
yeah. It was annoying. I'm like, and even Jim, I mean, I swear I could tell. Okay, so Davina, she's got tricks. Mm-hmm. So Jim was like, he hates Davina. He hates her. And he pretty much harassed her to the point where she tried to chase him down with a car. He talked shit to her, like, bitch, never. He goes, and then she tries to hit him with the car. And he ghosts himself, like, but he got hit by the car.
A little bit.
And there was a little teeny bit of blood on that car. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yep.
And she licked the blood off the car. I'm like, ah!
This is a total Davina move. As soon as she's like, oh, there's blood, I was like, she's going to lick this because she is this crazy. This is what she wants. She wants his essence, all of him. And
oh my gosh. But little do we know how much she's able to do with that blood, because later we find out that, and I could tell the first 2 times I couldn't tell it was Davina, but that third time it was obvious it was her.
The first time I had the thought, I'd be like, this would be wild if it was Davina, but I don't think it can be because they protected the house.
Right.
I was like, but I was like, would Sissy do this? I don't think so, but like Davina would. And then it was like very PG. She's like, just let me sleep with you. Like, just let me lay here. And I was like, okay, maybe it's actually Sissy, not Davina.
No.
I had that inkling, like right from the very start. And then afterward, I was like, yes, vindicated. It was her all along.
Yes. And because she got some of his blood, she was able to work around those protections.
Yep.
So again, because Jim is so, focused on Sissy, he doesn't tell Adrian anything about what happened.
It's fuck Adrian. What does Adrian need to know? Like, oh my God, Jim.
And I mean, in my mind, so let's say when he finally figures out it's her, when the real Sissy knocks on the door and calls his name.
Like, hey, Jim, what do you want? Or, are you okay? Or whatever she said.
Mm-hmm. He jumped off he was like, his ass was on fire. He's like, oh my God, jumped off the bed. And I'm like, okay, at that point, as soon as Davina disappeared, I'd be like, oh my God, Adrian, I would have called his ass and like had a conniption. This bitch was in my bed. I mean, like, why wouldn't he? Oh, he's so slow. Even tell
Sissy.
No.
Like, Sissy deserves to know that Davina's going around wearing her body.
I mean,
right?
Davina can wear anyone's body. And the fact that she was in that house, that would put Sissy at risk. Why wouldn't he tell her that crazy bitch can get in here?
Because he's being a dumb fuck.
I know, but he should have told her, because she could appear any kind of way to Sissy. Not,
as her mother or father or sister or
right. I don't understand. Jim was so off his game this entire book, from first page to last page, this entire book.
I know. It was fucking annoying.
And at the end, when he realized, so fast forward, GB is the bad guy. He's the soul, if you didn't pick that up. Mm-hmm. They had no real interaction with him. At the end, Jim is standing outside like, oh my God. Like, what can I do? There's nothing I can do. Yeah. And he's like, well, shit. The only thing I can do is keep her ass occupied. So, so he's like having a damn date with Davina. He's having a fucking date, basically. He's like following her, doing stuff with her in the dungeon, going with her to pick up her flag. It's not like a date.
Exactly like a date. They went back to the hotel. They fucked for a while. He has scratch marks all up and down his back.
Yeah.
Even though he swore he was never going to do this again multiple times.
That's why she like, whatever, Jim, whatever.
You keep swearing it's not going to happen, but it happens. Like, come on, dude. Come the fuck on.
I know. And now he knows she's a liar, but he's still entertaining her suggestions. So during this round, when Nigel offs himself, that left like a sensitivity or a way for things to get messed up in heaven. So everyone fled that, like, you know, I guess the perimeter of heaven.
Yeah.
Right. And they went inside the gates to try to protect everything. Yeah. And I guess Davina decided to tell him, oh, that's going to be your job. They're going to give that to you.
So he told her what happened while she was pretending to be Sissy, like, and she started flipping out because she remembered the contract she signed with God and Nigel. Which, why the fuck is there a contract for this game? But
side note to that, in that that was the second time in bed, right?
Yes.
That is when it came out. It was her because she said, "What about Colin?" And I'm like,
yes.
Like what? Like Sissy doesn't know who the heck Colin is. Right. So that gave it away. So anyway, sorry, go
ahead. She started freaking out because of the contract, and she's like, there was a little footnote or something that says if Nigel died, then the savior was gonna take over his job or something like along those lines.
Right.
And it was very like she flipped out. And I think that was the third time because she started like losing her grip on reality and losing her grip on Sissy's form, and she was like reverting back into her demonic form, and there were bones protruding, and it was really gross. And she ran away.
God,
that was another issue. She ran out of his bedroom. Jim ran out of his bedroom after her, yelling for Sissy, and I was like, "Why the fuck isn't the real Sissy going? What? What do you want? Why are you calling for me?" I was like, plot hole, massive plot hole.
I know. I didn't even think about that. I'm like, well, I guess the timing kind of got blurred for me a little bit because it was like 36 hours, right? And I'm like, was that the point when she was at Walmart? I mean, she getting clothes? I don't know. No,
maybe, I don't know.
Adrian got her clothes. I don't know. I'm like, whatever. So I kind of just let it go. But yeah, that is a plot hole for sure.
Yeah, I was like, what? You can't run out of your bedroom yelling Sissy's name and then have nobody hear it and question.
And like nobody. Adrian didn't say, what? Why are you calling her? Like, what's happening? Like nothing.
Yeah. Sissy didn't appear saying, what? What do you want from me? Like nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. Nope. No.
But at the same time, J.R. Ward is trying us. She's trying us with this Jim and Sissy bullshit.
Yeah.
Like for real. Like
Sissy's feeling it. Jim's feeling it. He's not feeling it. And fucking Davina instead. And then he's like, but I still want her. And he had that really pathetic line at the end of the book. I think it was like the last page where he's like, I remember when I sat outside of her room like a dog, and that's all I'll ever be to her is just another dog. And I was like, oh my God, you teenage boy. Like, I just want to slap you now.
Angst.
So much stupid angst.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, she's like 20 or something, or
19.
19, yeah, she's young. She's like, okay, depending on when her birthday falls, I was a sophomore at 19. I started college at 17. So she could have been into her second year of college, which is more mature than a freshman, but still, you're like twice her age.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
it was creepy. It was, to be fair to Sissy, when I was 19, if some big badass dude like Jim like saved my life and then was super supportive and emotional and cried on my shoulder, yeah, I'd want to jump his bones too. But I'm not in this war-ending battle between heaven and hell.
You know, this is a total side comment, but I find this true. And I don't understand why J.R. Ward thinks that all this smoking is sexy. But if someone like him came up or like Duke came up, I'd be entertaining it until they whipped out them cigarettes. I'm like, ugh, that's disgusting. I can't do it. Like, why are all these guys smoking? Like, I don't understand.
They're old school. And I'm using air quotes.
Oh my God.
I call them coffin nails too. Like, they know it's killing them. Well, they're dead. But
I don't know. Okay, even when I was younger.
She's like, I love the smell. And I'm like,
no, you don't. You are gross if you love the smell of cigarettes.
No.
They're not even smoking cigars or anything sophisticated. They're smoking cheap ass cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's not sexy at all. That does not smell good at all. Like, I don't understand. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got sidetracked with that, but I'm like, why is that so sexy?
Sidetrack away. It's not sexy. It's not. It's the least sexy thing about Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Jim. I want to strangle him so badly. Like, I can't. The whole book.
Hey, Jim, this is what you deserve. You earned this. You earned it.
You earned this failure. And I know, back in book 2, when Davina won her first round, and I was saying, I love this. I love that J.R. Ward is making it, 50-50. The bad guys are winning. I don't even feel proud of Davina right now. Like, she deserves this win, but like, she didn't even really have to fight for it. Jim did literally nothing.
She did interact with GB, though. She did.
Good for her. And she scared Kate right into Duke's arms.
So maybe there was a chance if she had gotten with GB, he might not have killed that woman. Maybe. I don't know.
No, because he said Jennifer was mean to Kate. So that's why he killed her. He would have killed Jennifer no matter what.
Yeah, he's just that kind of psychopath. Because then when Kate did something he didn't like, how dare you hug my brother? After everything I told you, how dare you? I'm coming to kill you. Like, what?
Yeah. No. Creepy. Disgusting.
Okay. So also, I didn't quite understand why Nigel killed himself. So I took it upon myself to kind of guess that because Sissy was given back, that was the consequence of Sissy being given back. But I just guessed it because it wasn't told to us. Why did he kill himself?
It felt very weird. And at first I didn't believe it. Like, I know Colin came and he was all upset. He's like, Nigel's gone. And I was like, what do you mean? Is he faking it? And then Jim found him with his hand on the knife. And even then I was like, maybe Davina killed him? Like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But maybe, again, this ties back into that contract. Maybe Nigel realized that he needed to die so Jim would come up to heaven and do this. And then Sissy could be the new savior. Or maybe that he needed to die so Sissy would come up and rule heaven. And Jim could keep being the savior. Like, maybe he saw something in the future that had to play out that way. But it also felt fake. I don't know how else to say that. Like, he didn't say goodbye to Colin, which was his lover for centuries. And he was so upset at the thought of Colin, like, even looking at Adrian.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Nigel would just do this without talking to anybody,
which is like, I feel like there's more to know about that. I think this may not be the end of that discussion, because even Colin was so upset. Like, he beat the shit out of Jim when he saw
He
him.
almost killed Jim.
Yeah, like he thought that was Jim's fault. That's another reason why I thought maybe it was a consequence of Sissy, because Jim did that. He made that choice. He made the choice to give the flag up in exchange for her. So now Nigel's gone. It seemed like he was blaming him. So I'm like, well,
oh, absolutely. And, you know, he and Nigel had that fight over the flag and Nigel was furious. But again, like, it didn't feel like Nigel was suicidal. I feel like Nigel had a plan. And
that's why I think it was, like you say, a plan, but I say symmetry. Like, maybe it was a rule that we didn't know, or maybe somehow he figured out. I don't know. I can't think of the right set of, I can't. I wish that we had got more of an explanation on that, because he did not seem suicidal. So I feel like whatever he did with intent on purpose.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So,
and that's why I was like, maybe he knew about the contract, or maybe, you know, I thought it was Davina until she flipped out about it. And then, because Davina would tell us if she killed him, she'd be bragging all over the place.
Right.
But you know, she's like legitimately upset that Nigel's gone. So it wasn't her. Maybe it's some new villain, but that wouldn't make sense at all. I don't know. I'm hoping that Nigel and Eddie come back to life in the next book, even though I know dead characters usually don't come back.
Yeah.
I still want Eddie to come back.
Me too. Okay, wait, let's take a quick break, because there's one more comment I want to say that piggybacks around before we move on to Eddie. Okay, y'all, check out the commercials. Please listen to the commercials. That supports the show. We appreciate you for doing it. Check out the book review journal, available now on Amazon. The links are in the show notes for all that fun stuff, and we'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, guys, we are back. So, what I wanted to piggyback on is, you know, how we were contemplating why Nigel did what he did. But ultimately, that piggy's coming back around to Jim believing Davina when she says, hey, if we both just quit this thing, that won't be your job. None of us will lose. Because ultimately, she wants Jim. And she knows if Jim is in that seat, she cannot have him.
Heaven. Yeah.
He is out of her reach forever.
Yeah.
So
I believe Davina when she says, let's just quit. I don't think she's lying. I don't think she's fucking with him. I understand why Jim thinks it's a trap, but I think it's truly Davina and her therapy working and saying, hey, I want you more than I want stuff. Let's be together. But she's Davina. So.
She wants him more than she wants to win.
Yes.
She like, well, in the meantime, until you figure this out, I'm going to win this round. she's not an idiot.
Not?
Yeah,
no, she's not.
She like, he's not doing anything anyway. This is an easy one.
Exactly. But, okay, so she's winning now. It's 3-2. There's possibly 2 more souls left, but only 1 book left. So we'll see how it ends. Like if she walks away now, he could still win.
Mm-hmm. He could. I don't know. I think my soul tells me, because this falls under paranormal romance, we're going to get a happily ever after, but I'm not 100% sure of it.
I am so curious as to see how J.R. Ward is going to pull this off in 1 book.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover in 1 book. A lot.
Like in this book, Kate and Duke and GB absolutely felt like the subplot, the secondary afterthought to what was going on with Jim and the gang and Sissy and everybody. And I don't know if J.R. Ward can focus and get everything resolved with Jim and Davina and Sissy and Adrian while giving us another romance. So I wonder.
You know what? I just looked at my rating, and I honest to God, just like these other books, I don't remember. I don't remember it, but I rated it 5. So that tells me there was something satisfactory that came out of it. And I really can't remember what it was, but something good or something that made me satisfied happened.
Okay, good.
I don't know what. I wish I could remember, but every time these books is like brand new to me. It's been so long since I've read them. It's like brand new. Like even there was this one part, you guys, I posted about in the Facebook group. Do you know what part I'm talking about?
Yes.
I said, you'll know it when you get to it. So there's this part. So Jim is off doing stuff, and he asked Adrian to keep Davina occupied, keep her busy. So, he does. And, she liked to F with him. She liked to have sex with him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, let's try. Now, don't forget, his body is not healed from the ailments of the last book. So he has become impotent.
Yep.
It was hilarious. The scene, I fucking died. It was hilarious. So Davina is like very put out that he is not getting hard. She is very upset. She
tried everything. She tried sucking him for hours. She tried
for hours. That's what I'm like, for hours.
She tried masturbating in front of him for hours.
No go.
He could not get hard. And he was like, it feels like somebody's licking my elbow or something. Like there's no sensation at all.
It was so funny to me. I'm like, damn, he is getting her where it counts, her ego, because she knows, like, she's like, I get anybody to do what I want. And she usually does. But it was so bad. She had an emergency therapist appointment. And she was like, I feel ugly.
No, the best part is after they tried fucking and for hours, nothing worked. He took her shopping.
Yes.
To Target.
Yes.
Like, this is so pathetic. I can't even take her. She couldn't even go to like her Nordstrom, whatever. No,
and they picked out clothes for Sissy.
And she just followed Adrian around. Like, yes, let's go here and buy crappy clothes at Target.
Like, can you imagine that?
TGI Fridays, and she ate nasty food. Oh my God. That's what made me laugh.
That whole thing, hours of trying to make something happen, it doesn't. You give up and go to Target and TGIF of all places. Like, oh my God. It was hilarious to me. It was so hilarious. I'm like, oh my God. And Adrian, he was actually like having a good time with the fact that it wasn't happening.
Yes. I think he enjoyed, it was fucking with her. And that's what he always wanted, because she has tortured him just like she's tortured Jim over the centuries. And, this is finally him getting back at her. So yeah, he enjoyed it.
Oh my God. I thought that was like that scene where she starts to, give him fellatio. And it's like the description of his penis just kind of popping out of her mouth. Like, I'm like, oh my God. It's like flaccid. Oh my God. It was hilarious. I just died laughing. I'm surprised Adrian didn't laugh like out loud. He kept a poker face. I mean, oh my God.
I know. I was like, I would be laughing.
I know. Like, and even her poor therapist tried to help her. She's like, are you sure it's not a medical reason?
And she's like, no, it can't be medical.
Oh my God. Oh, that was hilarious, y'all. That was the funniest part of the book. It was worth.
It was. Well, okay. The second funniest part of the book, Davina pretended to be a black cat and ran in front of Jim's truck while he was driving around with Sissy. and he freaks out and crashes his truck into the car or into the tree. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, he is kind of immortal right then, which I thought was really weird. His
Yeah.
magical powers were kind of on the fritz in this book. But they take him to the hospital. He has injuries. They're trying to fix him. And this motherfucker takes a chair, breaks the window, and literally jumps out of the building in just a hospital gown. So I'm imagining his ass just out in the wind.
No
And
clothes, no shoes, no nothing.
No clothes, no shoes. No, well, his foot's in a cast and anything.
Yes.
And like, I was like, oh my God. Sissy was there watching him, but she's a ghost. And Colin came down to check on him. And he's like, and Jim's just like, nope, I'm going to jump out this hospital window and go my way out of this hospital and get away from you all.
Even Sissy was like, Jim, what are you doing? You are clearly hurt. What are you doing? Oh my God. He just would not listen to anybody. He was just on some BS. Oh my God.
It was hilarious. And I laughed at that.
And who comes to his rescue?
Davina. She's like, get in the car. And he's like, well, fuck me. And
that's where it happens, y'all. So he gets in the car. She drives to a hotel. And all of a sudden he is invisible because the hotel guy is like, are you coming? Right. And that whole time he's like, oh, you think I'm going to this hotel? He goes off, gets out the car. And that's when she tries to run him down. Oh, you know what? I'm telling you, who knew that J.R. Ward has such comedic, writing?
Right. It's so, this series has been dark and violent and twisted and bad shit is always happening. And then good shit happens and hilarious shit. And you're just like, am I a bad person for laughing at this? Because I can't stop laughing.
Because it's like we're laughing at the parts that are really effed up, but it's effed up for a reason. And that's why it's funny. Like, it's like all the karma. That is karma. And that's what makes it funny.
Exactly.
Oh man. Yeah, I had quite a few laughs out of this book, but it fit. It worked. It didn't feel out of place. It was good. It was good stuff.
Their characters were very much authentic to them. And even though I hated Jim for his character, we called it. We said this is what was going to happen. As soon as Sissy came out, he was going to lose his goddamn mind and focus entirely on her, lose all concentration on the game, which everybody warned him about. He's like, no, I'm fine. But then, he spent 3 days with Sissy and not thinking about the game. So yeah, no, it was really good. It was very authentic, if annoying.
Yes, absolutely.
One more quick side note. Another hilarious part, which we didn't think about, but, in the very beginning, Davina was more upset about having to give up Sissy because Sissy was one of her possessions.
Yeah.
More than the fact that Jim wanted her. And I thought that was hilarious because she was counting Sissy like one of her tubes of lipstick. And she's like, I can't get rid of stuff. I can't let go. And yeah, I was laughing at that too, because I was like, oh, she's OCD. And
yeah, she was willing to almost not take the flag because she didn't want to give up her possession. She had to talk herself out of it. Like, this is stupid. I want the flag.
And also Kate's OCD was very reminiscent of Davina. And so that was fun to watch.
Yeah, she did have a little bit of that too. I liked Kate. I liked her from what we got of her. I liked her character. I liked Duke, even though he was dumb too. But most of these men are dumb. Most of these dudes are dumb. All you have to do is just be honest with the woman. She was trying to pull questions and get you to answer things. And you gave her these lame ass no answer answers, which screwed you later. Oh, and who was the guy? Who was the janitor in the church? Who was the janitor in the church?
God?
I don't know. Because I'm like, well, wait, was that like Adrian? And I'm like, no, because one scene Adrian is in the church at the same time. Right. So I'm like, well, I was trying to figure out the very first time he appeared. I'm like, no, that's not it. I felt like something was like angelic about it or different about it. So maybe that guy will show up again somewhere, the janitor.
I think it was God. I think it was Dog pretending to be human for once.
Yeah. I mean, because he told Kate, he said, just talk about it. Just talk it through or you'll never get what you want.
Uh-huh.
And so y'all, okay, so this was another crazy part. This was some like Jerry Springer drama. Okay. So Kate is like all fine with Duke. She goes home after the funeral. GB is pissed off that, how dare blah, blah, blah. So he calls Kate on the phone and he tells her where Duke is. And Duke is out with his nephew. So, and he leads her to believe that that's his son and not his nephew. So she gets in her car, hightails it to the mall to catch them in the act, and then she runs away all mad. I'm like, okay. Then she goes to Duke's house.
That she didn't yell in front of the kid. Like that was respectable. But then she goes to Duke's house.
Right. Then she goes to his house and then she's looking like a creeper. And then the high roommate, she's already thinking, oh, great. He does drugs too. Like she on something, right? She has taken off. She went from level 1 to 1,000. She tells him where he can get off and, just tell Duke, deliver this message, blah, 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 and runs away. I'm like, Lord, this is some trouble if I never. Yep. It was funny, but I'm like,
Duke told her that he kind of had a roommate.
Yeah.
Like he told her about that. And she was upset that he's doing drugs, except he's always been completely sober around her. And like, she just went
off. But then when Duke showed up, she did listen to him and she seemed to think that things made sense. So she was okay with it. But, though, I did figure out what was going on with Duke exactly when it was revealed that GB was his brother. Did you connect the dots at that same moment? Like the minute I found out, like I knew they knew each other because he had said that. But the minute I found out they were related, because like the very first scene in this book, he went to give that woman some money. And he didn't explain who the woman was. He said he was kind of mad. I'm like, is it an ex? I felt it was an ex. And I thought I didn't know what was happening exactly. But the minute he said that was his twin brother, I said, he slept with his girlfriend and they had a baby. I said, that is his nephew. Like I knew immediately. I'm like, why else would he be trying to take care of some dude's random kid?
Yeah, no, when he was dropping off the child support, she was like, will you at least talk to him? And he's like, no, I'll never talk to the kid. I was like, okay, I feel like this is ex-girlfriend, somebody else's baby, and he's just doing this out of guilt or whatever. But yeah, as soon as it said that he was related to GB, I was like, oh my God, it's his nephew.
Yeah, it's nephew. And I see like he doesn't give two shits about that woman. But I think in his heart, he just feels like he just can't not let his nephew pay the price and suffer by not having money or not doing this, even though he doesn't want to be cool with him. Although he then turns that around and he's like, well, your father's not here. I'm going to try to help you not be the asshole he is.
Yes. Which is good. This kid needs a father figure if he's going to be a fucking bully at the age of 12 or whatever.
Like you got to stop him now before he turns into a psycho like his daddy. Because first it's bullying and then it's killing animals. Like, I just, like what Jim said, his brother was like killing things and stuff. So I'm like, well, maybe he just wants to end the cycle. So he's going to, regardless if he likes it or not, he's going to be the man figure, father figure to him, even though it's his nephew. Good for him.
Yeah, he needed that. So one thing that didn't quite make sense to me, if we still have time to talk about it, was Duke constantly going to that psychic woman.
Yeah.
And she kept calling him and saying, beware the brunette. You're at a crossroads. You have to choose right. And I was like, but Duke was never really at a crossroads.
No, he wasn't.
And even GB wasn't really at a crossroads either. Like, he was already murdering people. He murdered Jennifer, and
right.
The way he talked about it, he's done it before, would definitely do it again. I don't understand how this was the game almost. Because
so yeah, I do wonder that. What was the crossroads for GB? What was it? He was a killer
maybe he was
already.
Killing his brother? Because he's...
See, I don't think Duke ever wanted to kill his brother. I think
Duke
that
wasn't.
No, I think he wanted to get back at him. So that's why he started. Yeah, but I don't think he was ever in danger of committing murder.
Or going pure evil or anything like that. Was kind of, he met Kate under dubious, whatever. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to get back at my brother by, sleeping.
Killing his girlfriend.
Yeah. But then it was like, no, I actually want you. So that's not what this is about. And that was his big thing. I don't know. It's weird.
But even GB, what crossroads can a serial killer have? I mean, you've already crossed the line, right?
I
don't know.
Even with Matthias in his first book, he, was a murderer, killing lots of people, but this was going to be a super awful murder. And, I don't know. It felt weak. It didn't feel like there was enough to make this the game, but also
and honestly, I don't put someone who was a killer. Okay. 2 killers are equally bad. They're equally bad, but I don't think that putting a killer for the government on the same level as a serial killer.
Oh no.
I don't think, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, Matthias was fucked up in his own way, because remember how he killed the son and made the father watch and then forced him to, he's fucked up and he was doing really nasty shit. But that was crossing a line and going after the heroine in that book and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And then here, I don't know. It felt weak. It didn't feel like they were at a crossroads. And the fact that the psychic kept calling and was like, you have to choose, there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Where's the brunette? And I was like, this.
It never came back around. And also Kate picked up the same psychic's card, but it never came back around. Remember, she picked up the card.
She was going to, but then she went to church instead and met the old man.
Right. But she took the card when they fell. Yeah. She took one, but she never called her. It never touched base again with that story, with that part of the story. I don't know.
It was weird. Yeah.
It was kind of left open. It was off. I don't know. It's hard to explain. You make these points for a reason, but they never came out. It never came back around. So
I don't know if she was trying to do it to make us feel like this plot was bigger than it was, but really it was just overshadowed by Jim.
Another thing that really didn't have any weight in the story was at the beginning when Kate got her new hairdo. I knew it was Davina giving her the blonde hair. I knew it was. And then, of course, the psychic says, oh, you need to be with this brunette. You need to talk to this brunette, And I'm like, well, obviously it's her because she changed her hair color. But I'm like, they act like that was a crucial,
It took me half a second to remember that was Davina. Because I was like, Pablo, why do we know Pablo? And then he was acting weird. And I was like, oh, it's Davina. And I thought she was going to sacrifice Kate, the way she was sacrificing all the other blonde women, like Sissy, to fuck with Jim. But then she didn't. And
Davina just has a thing about blondes. Because honestly, she could have made Kate a redhead and it wouldn't have mattered.
No. Another weird open-ended thread was that Kate lost her notebook.
Yeah.
I thought Davina stole it, but no, Davina just stole her earring. She kept.
Yeah.
So maybe GB stole the notebook because I had a picture of him in it. I don't know. I was just like, where she kept going, my notebook is missing. My notebook is missing.
That's another thing. Like, she takes these trinkets and that gives her more power over them or more access to them. But she never really did outside of chasing her in the the car parking lot or whatever. She didn't really have any interaction with Kate, Davina, outside of trying to scare her away.
Well, that's
and change her. Right.
She wanted her to end up with Duke so she could manipulate GB into getting upset because she was with Duke and not him. I don't know.
And maybe the crossroad was, we've learned in this book, the action isn't the crossroad. The intent is the crossroad. So he intended to off his brother. Maybe that's the crossroad, to kill his brother.
Yeah.
Right. Or kill Kate. Maybe. Because he came for her and he was trying to kill her. And he was trying to kill the brother. And so he wasn't successful, but he still tried it. So the intent was there. So maybe.
Yes. I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, so you guys, if you've read the book, tell us what the crossroad was for GB. If you know what it is, if you're confident you know what the crossroad was for him, come to the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group. Join us on book clubs. And actually, I've been saying this whole time it's with a Z. Guess what? They changed it to an S. They changed it to email. So it's book clubs with an S. Let us know what you think, the crossroads was.
Yeah, I want to hear what other people have to say about this because I'm curious.
Yeah. And if by some crazy chance J.R. Ward is listening, hit me up and let me know what the crossroad was. Like, hey, Tamara, I listened to your podcast and this was the crossroad, you dummy. It was in the writing. Tell me. I'll be okay with it.
Tell us.
I'll be okay with it.
That would be amazing. Oh my God.
I know. That'd be one for the record book, man, if that happened.
Oh, wow. Yeah, for sure. It'd be wild.
Yeah. Like this one time. I have a story for life. Oh my God. Okay, so I think we should rate it. What do you think, Casey?
Yeah, let's go ahead and rate it.
Okay.
You want to go first?
Want to go first? Okay, I'll go first. I'll go. So while I did kind of dislike Jim in this installment, I had a blast with the book. It was funny. It was shocking, compelling. I liked the couple. I liked the sex in the book. There were a lot of things that I liked. The audiobook narrator did a spot on job. He always does a good job with Davina's voice. He changes his voice to this falsetto, you guys. It's amazing. It's like Davina's. I feel like I'm listening to her. Like I do. I'm like, it's so different. He sounds one way with the men, and then Davina, it sounds completely different. I'm like, I don't know how he does it. So anyway, he's a good voice actor. So with that, I had a really good time with it. So I'm going to rate it 4 out of 5. It was good. What about you, Casey?
Right there with you. 4 stars out of 5. Absolutely. As much as I hated this book and wanted to strangle Jim, I also just loved this book. It was emotional in a way that I was laughing and crying and screaming and going, are you fucking kidding me? Over and over and over again. And I wasn't really mad about that because I knew it was coming. I knew Jim was going to be an idiot this whole time. And so, I was excited to go on that ride with him, I guess I could say. But it was a fantastic book. I think it's up there in one of my favorites in the series.
Mm-hmm.
There were some really good parts to it. There were some very annoying parts to it, but those just made this book.
Yeah, it's like by design, like it's intended.
Yeah.
I think the author wants you to be pissed off, wants you to be annoyed with Jem.
Oh, absolutely.
So
and
that is the sign of great writing.
So,
yeah. You feel it. Like, I feel like I could have been watching a movie. I felt like I could have seen what was happening, like in front of my face.
Oh, yeah. And like, that's part of the enjoyment, is yelling at Jem and be like, you're being fucking stupid. Stop it. Stop it. But you can't stop him. So.
Yeah. It's great.
It was great.
Absolutely. Okay. Let us know, you guys, what you thought of Possession. If you will be rating it, or if you've already rated it on Goodreads, let us know what you rated it. If you missed book club, that's cool. Join us now. You can join us for the next book club. If you're not into book club, no problem. You can just come back here and listen to us on the podcast. No problem. So the next book is the final book in series, and it is titled Immortal. So immortal could mean a lot of things. It could mean Jem is forever immortal. Like, is he going to be in Nigel's space? Is he not?
Who knows?
Who knows?
It could be the dead angels coming back to life.
I know, because Eddie's still hanging out. He's still fucking hanging out. I'm like, okay.
Come on, Eddie. You smell like flowers. Just open your eyes.
I cannot with that. Get rid of this dead body. I'm sorry.
It's only been like a couple weeks, because everything happens in like 3 days, or each book or whatever.
I don't care. Get this dead, unless he's coming back at some point in time. Get rid of that body. Somebody take it up to heaven. Somebody do something. Anyway,
next to Nigel.
I want that explained in Immortal. I want Eddie's body hanging around explained.
Yes, me too.
I want it. I better get it.
Yeah. That needs to happen ASAP.
Yeah. So between finding out about the whys of Nigel, I want that. I want Eddie's resolution. And honestly, I would love to see Adrian return to his normal state. I would. I think it's bullshit. He got a raw deal for doing that dumb shit. Now, it was dumb.
Oh, yeah.
It was dumb to do. But I'm like, dude, I'm immortal and I'm an angel, and I have to stay with these injuries. Oh my God.
No. I mean, it was funny while he was incompetent with Davina, but he deserves to have his dick back.
Yes. Because he loves sex. I mean, clearly he was doing sex all the time. He was having sex all the time before. So I don't know. We shall see. All right, I think we're done. What do you think?
I think we're done for today.
All right. So it's been a blast. You guys, come on over to Patreon and check out today's after show. We have some fun times ahead available right now for you to listen to. Until next time, happy reading. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.